everyone, welcome to Photoplay's YouTube channel and welcome back to Tuesdays with Tina. I have a really fun project to share with you. I'm super excited I get to share this with you because it's my first folio that I've created, and I have to say, if you love paper, you are going to love creating folios. Photoplay Maker Series makes it really easy because they have a kit that has everything that you need. This folio creates a 5.5 by 8.5 inch pretty wide. It's almost slightly under 2 inches. So it's a very thick folio. And there's lots of bells and whistles on the inside, and I'll show it to you in just a minute. But the folio comes with a magnet and all the pre-scored and folded and trimmed down pieces to create it. Makes it very easy. All you need to do is bring in pattern paper. The pattern paper that we're using today is from Photoplay, and we're using this Happy Life 12 by 12 collection to create our folio. So to create this, you're going to need this. We're going to use a lot of the, all the pattern papers in here. There's a little bit extra, maybe to create a couple extra cards, but for the most part, we're using so much of this kit, and we're going to have fun doing it, okay? Let's go over the folio that I created, and then we're going to work step by step. I'm going to share with you how to assemble it and then how to decorate it. Okay, this is the front of my folio. This is the spine, and this is the back. This is the top or the bottom. This is one that you can easily tuck some ribbon in here on the top and bottom if you wanted to seal it closed, but I left it open because I just like the way it looks, and it stands very nicely. If you were to make a series of these for your photo albums, I think it would be just adorable. And you can label them on the spine, which is really nice. Okay, when you open it up, you have page 1 and 2. For page 1, there's a corner pocket. I just added a couple cut-aparts in here, and I did create an extra pocket on here, okay, for those cut-aparts. And then I created a little journaling tab, and then I also created a card. So you could actually put some cards in here and give it as a gift, which is really nice. Page 2 is just one sheet page. You could do anything you want with it. I had used my pattern paper to create a couple pockets and then added some guest checks to it. Okay, you could add little notes on there. You could put them in here, or I just put them behind my sticker here, just for a little decoration. So that's page 2. Page 3, Maker Series folio, has 2 pockets, and the pockets are nice and heavy duty, and they can hold a lot of pictures too if you want to add. I just added 2 journaling tags, but you can add pictures to go with it. One pocket is pretty deep here on top, and then the second one is a shallow pocket, and then I added some paper here to do a little bit of extra writing on. But that is page 3. Page 4 is super fun, and it has a surprise element to it. What I did was use pattern paper, and I like to journal, so I like to add notes with my pictures, and so I have a lot of little note cards, and I created a pocket in here to add my little journaling tag. I also added a couple guest checks for decoration that you can draw little notes on. But remember I mentioned the Folio 11 has a magnet closure. It's for this piece here. If you flip this down, you can see the magnet here, and it holds this piece together. Okay, I'm gonna turn my folio sideways because when you open it up, you have a waterfall element, and there's tons of places here to create your pictures, or to add your pictures. Tons of space here for journaling, or add more pictures here if you wanted to. What I did is, instead of putting the pictures on top, I thought I would put them on the inside, kind of as a surprise. Every time you open each section, you could put a picture here and a picture here, and so on and so forth. I love this waterfall effect, and it opens and closes so easily. And then just to close it, it seals everything in, and it snaps closed. Let me snap it closed so you could probably hear it. You hear how it snaps closed? So it's a nice magnet that keeps all your pictures nice and safe. This is what it looks like on the side. It looks kind of bulky because I just made it, and that is page number 4. When you flip this over, we have page number 5, which is a blank page. You can do anything you want to it. And then we have page 6. Page 6 is actually an insert. It is a card that you could open up. You can create a photo album with. I left mine blank. But this here is a belly band. You can put your hands through it. And this is what you can slide the card in to help keep it closed. So you can keep it in there and flip it open, but you can slide it out too, which is really nice. So that is page 6. Now when you open page 6, you have page 7 to the left, and then you have this page here. When you open this up, you have, we'll say 7, page 8. Page 8 is a blank slate too. You can add anything you want to it. I just added a journaling card and a little tag. And then I created a band here that you could tuck things in. Super easy to do with paper. And then you have this page here, which has the same corner pocket that we made with page 1. It kind of completes the whole folio. And then what I had did, there's plenty of room in here. I had created another journaling page that you can add. You could even put a notepad in here. That is how much room you have. In fact, let me show you. I have a notepad here. And it's a pretty thick notepad, but you could see if you add it, you have plenty of room. And your folio will still close lovely. And you still have lots of room. You see what I mean when you can add lots of elements to your folio? This one here has a double pocket too that I added a cut apart here. And then I also added a couple guest checks. You can add little cute little notes too. And then when you flip this over, you have your last page again. And I just created a band that I could tuck. See, you can put pictures on here. You can add notes. You can put, you know, mementos or receipts. And this piece here, I actually just put glue on the left and right too. So if I have like maybe a newspaper clipping that I wanted to add to this section, I could actually go through both. And it would hold it in place. That's the best thing about pattern paper. You can do lots with it. And that is my folio number 11. Now, let's go over the folio pieces really quickly. I do want to share with you how it comes. It comes in a kit like this. It creates one folio. When you open it up, you have all the pre-scored elements. Everything is pre-cut and pre-scored for you. It does not come with your double-sided tape. You can see I did a little prep work because we want to keep this video short. We don't want it 2 hours long. So I did go ahead and add some adhesive. But your magnet will come in a little plastic bag. I already adhered mine to the cardstock. But you have everything you need to create the folio, which makes it pretty fabulous, including step-by-step instructions. Now, don't let the instructions intimidate you. It's only a 9-step process. So it's very, very well explained. It was very easy to create. And we're going to jump in and get started. I'm going to trim down some papers to make things easier. Now, I do want to mention, I'm not going to tell you the measurements because how I measured is I just brought the paper. Let me show you. How I measure is I just bring the paper to the folio pieces. Okay, I mark it with a pencil and then trim it. Okay, so everything is for the most part slightly smaller than my folio panels. I'm gonna have my directions off to the side here. Now I do want to mention that for today's projects, I'm bringing in some extra supplies. Of course, you're going to need a large paper trimmer, one that will hold a 12 by 12 sheet of pattern paper. I'm bringing in my crocodile and some eyelets. Of course, I have my scissors. I have glue. I also have ribbon, some punches, and I'm also using some double-sided score tape. That's what I used to add to my folio. Okay, you want a really strong tape to create your folio. You don't want it to fall apart on you. So I had 1/8 of an inch size, but you could use actually, you know, 1/2 inch if you wanted to. We're going to start with the front of our card today. So and that follows with step number 1. So step number 1, it says to take the 13 by 8.5 folio cover piece. I have that here. Okay. And then it also says to take this strip here. And I already put my adhesive behind it. I think the easiest way for me to show you how to make the folio and to decorate it is to do it in sections, okay? So bear with me. Step number 1, it says to grab these 2 pieces, okay? This is your folio base. What we're going to do is take this piece. I already put my score tape around all the edges, and what we're going to do is take this and reinforce it right down the center. Okay, that's going to be our spine reinforcement. Now, that's step 1, pretty easy. What we're going to do is flip this over. I'm going to use my glue, and we're going to take some pattern paper from our This Happy Life collection. Now, this is a 12-inch sheet. Okay, I did leave the index paper on, so we need to lengthen this, and it's not a big deal because we're going to just cover it with pattern paper. So we're just going to adhere this so it's slightly smaller. I have a little bit of a white border, and then I have an extra piece that we're just going to add on this side here. Just kind of lengthening this, and no worries about the seam because we're going to cover it up, although it's really hard to tell that there is a seam. Now after we have this done, there's score lines on here. I'm going to want to reinforce those score lines, so using a bone folder, this is kind of important, okay, for your folio to work properly. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold this over and give this a good score. This is going to be the back of our folio. It's kind of really hard to tell even that there is a seam here, but there is. What we're going to do is cover that seam up. So I have some pattern paper, and we're just going to add some glue here. Kind of gives it a finished look. And then I also have more pattern paper that we're going to layer right over the top here. Okay, so this, again, this is not the front, this is the back. So I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to open it up. And now this is the front of our book. For the front, I have more pattern paper. What I like to do is fold it like this, so I know where the center is. Okay, and then after this is adhered, I have another thicker piece of pattern paper that we're going to fishtail the end. And to make things easier, I have a punch that will do some fishtailing for me. I just put it in here and give it a punch, and I have an instant fishtail. We'll add some glue behind here, and then we're going to tack this down. Now we have the front and the back. Okay, what we're going to do is add a little decorative piece for the front of our folio, and I'm using one of the cut apart sheets. And actually, when you use the we're going to be using the front and the back. Okay, so I do want to mention that if you do have this collection, this strip here you'll want to cut out because we're going to use several cut aparts from this strip. Okay, so for the front of our folio, I'm actually using the guest check. Save this for our other cards. And I have some white cardstock that we're just going to mat our guest check in. Now we're going to bring in our sticker sheet. In our sticker sheet, we're going to use the words that say life. I put foam tape behind this sticker that says everyday, and we're going to go ahead and add this. I'm going to take my everyday life, and we're just going to slant it a little bit, and we will tack this down in the middle of the front of our folio, and that is the front of our folio. Now it's time to work on the inside. Now for the rest of the folio and the rest of the steps, we're going to assemble it and then we'll decorate it just to make things a little bit easier. And I followed the directions. I added my score tape with the bumpy side of the score line down, and I love that they do that because it does make scoring it so much easier. Okay, I'm just going to remove one of the pages. Now in our kit there are 4 pages that are similar. Okay, you'll know the difference because one of them has double score lines. This is single score line here. Okay, I removed the release paper, and what we're going to do is take this panel, and at this score mark here, we're going to add this. And you can use your bone folder. You don't have to if you have a strong tape or glue. You don't have to do that. But that's all there is to that. Now with this one, you see how the flap is this way? With this one, this flap here is going to go the opposite way here. Okay, so we're just going to remove our release paper off of our double-sided adhesive, and we will take this and add this. Now I do want to mention that these pages do not go the length of your folio, so you want to center them, and you don't want to add this to your the score mark, because otherwise it won't fold open. So those are adhered per directions. Okay, and that's all there is to step number 2. Pretty easy so far. Now I mentioned that there's 2 more sheets like this that have a double score lines. I'm going to take those. What we're doing is reinforcing both of the score lines. Okay, so when you reinforce both of the score lines, you could see that this is the width of it. Okay, it's just not a flat fold. You want to have a little dimension with this. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing to this one. Now we're going to take one of those. I'm going to remove the release paper. Okay, we're going to take this. This is going to go adhered on the very back page. We're going to tack this down just inside that score line. And that's adhered. For this panel, we remove the release paper, and I'm going to add this to the very edge of our folio here. We're going to center it, and I'm going to add it. So once this is adhered, this creates a trifold. So you fold in and fold over, and then you have that gusset that gives you dimension to where you could stuff things without it bulking, which makes it really nice. Let's take an overview of what we have so far. When you open it up, you have flap 1, flap 2, flap 3. That is the trifold. Now we're moving along to step 4. Remember, there's only 9 steps to the folio, so it's going by really quickly. Moving along to step number 4, we are taking our square panel. This is a little over like 6 3/8 by 6 3/8. It's a square panel. It did tell me to put adhesive bumpy side of my score line down. Makes it easier for reinforcing the score line, which we can do right now. Bumpy side down just makes it so helpful. If you were to do the opposite with bumpy side up, it wouldn't score as easy. You'd probably have to use a bone folder. Okay, and then I did put my double-sided adhesive all along the edge. What we're going to do is bring in our paper trimmer, and it says we're going to cut it at a diagonal from corner to corner. Now I put a pencil mark here so you guys could see actually what I'm doing, and so I could see what I'm doing, and it makes it so much easier just drawing a straight line. Now we have corner panels. What we're going to do next is take our scissors. We're actually going to fold this in, and I'm going to trim away the piece that's overhanging. So if you were to fold this in, you see that piece overhanging? You just want to trim that away. Okay, and then at the very bottom, you're going to trim that corner off. Okay, let me show you so you know what I mean. So basically we just trim this corner off here. We're going to trim this corner off too, and then cut these sides off also. You just fold them in and you know exactly where to cut. Following the directions, you want to remove the release paper here, and mitering those corners help out so much because it creates straight edges, which is really nice. Let me show you. When you fold it in, you see you have that corner point, and then you have a straight edge here. So I removed the release paper off of both of these. Now what I'm going to do next is take some pattern paper, and I'm going to cover my front page. One of these is going to go in this corner here, but I'm going to add some pattern paper to this page here, and also to the back page. Now I adhered my pattern paper to the sections that we need to add our corners to. This saves us a little bit of time. So this is the very front. Now we're going to take our corner. I'm going to add this all the way to the corner here. We're just going to line it up all the way to the corner, and then we give it a good press. And then that's our corner pocket here. And then we'll do the same thing. Now this is actually our trifold area. Okay, so we want to put this in this corner also. We will tack this down here in our trifold area. Now I do have my pencil mark, so I'm going to use my eraser and erase my pencil mark. And we're good to go. So now we have 2 corner pockets. That was step number 4. We're going to move along to step number 5. For step number 5, it said to add adhesive bumpy side down, so that's what we're doing. And I'm going to reinforce those score lines. Just give it a good press. Now all of our score marks are reinforced, okay? Now I drew a pencil line down the center, so this marks the center. It says to add adhesive 1 1/4 inch from that center mark, okay? So that's what I did. What we're going to do is take our paper trimmer and we're going to trim right down the middle. So when we trim, one piece is going to have double-sided tape all along the edges. This one. You see it has tape all along the edges. But this one is 1 1/4 inches up. Okay? And then what we're going to do is miter the bottom section. And then what I did is created pencil marks where we need to trim. What we're doing is we're mitering, or we're trimming down at an angle this section. So we're going to take our scissors and I'm going to just trim it at an angle from the score mark, and we're going to trim this section out. You see there's the score mark. Okay, so we have a little flap, and we're going to do the same thing here. So here's the score line. You can see how it kind of angles. You're going to trim that off, and then you're going to trim it off. So now we have 2 flaps. And that's all there is to that. With this piece, I'm going to use my scissors, and we are going to trim off the corner here. And we'll trim off this bottom corner. So now when we folded it in, you can see that the corners are mitered, which makes it really nice. We can toss these away, and we're going to remove the release paper here. Now this is a pocket that we created. This is our folio. This is page 1. I'm going to open it up, and on not this blank side, but this side, we're going to add our pocket to the very bottom. And then I'm going to just remove my pencil mark. Actually, I'll leave that on there so you can see it. So we have this page. We have this page was considered page 1. When you open it up, we have that pocket. Now we're going to take this piece. I'm going to remove the release paper, and we're going to fold it in on the same side as our pocket. What we're going to do is take this piece. Remember, those ends are folded in, and we're going to slide it inside this pocket until it stops, and then we're just going to press it down. And that's all there is to that. So 1 pocket, 2 pockets. Step 5 is done. We have our 2 pockets. Now we're going to move along to step number 6. Step number 6 is very simple. We have this piece of paper. It says to add adhesive, bumpy side of the score lines down. You can see the bumpies. So I added adhesive. Now I'm going to reinforce the score lines here. I'm not even going to use a bone folder. I'll just fold them. And this is going to create a gusset, like so. You can see that gusset. The waterfall is a little bit bulky, so you're going to need that gusset. I'm going to remove the release paper. I'm going to hold it down, and remember that this is a score line, and then this is the second score line, but I am going to hold it flat. And we're actually going to align this all the way to the edge of this page. Okay, so line it up to the edge of that page. You're going to have a little bit of room here. You see there's a little extra room. Let me show you up close. So you're overlapped here, but you're all the way to the edge of your page here. This is your page. And then reinforce that score line, and then you have that gusset. Okay, and it evens out at the bottom of your page automatically. Now we need to create our magnetic closure. So I have this panel. Okay, it said bumpy side down, put adhesive on one side, put the magnet on the other. So basically you created a little mini card with tape on one side, magnet on the other. And I did secure my magnet with my tape. This is 1/8 inch score tape, which is really strong. So it worked out great. So if you close it, you have that little gusset. Okay. Now we need to attach this magnet to this flap that we just created. Okay, to do that, and so it's perfectly centered, it's very easy. You just snap them both together. I had already put tape on here. So what I'm going to do is remove that tape. So we're going to take this. This is our fold. Okay, this needs to go on the back side. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm going to lay this here. I'm not going to press just yet because I want to make sure that this is centered. Okay, and when you center it and tack it down, you want to make sure that you're not hitting that score line. If you hit the score line, you're not going to be able to fold it close. But you want to get really close to it. And I think that's pretty centered. So I'm going to tack this down here. Now I'm going to use my bone folder. Give that a good press. So this is attached to the back. Okay. Now I'm going to close, make sure my flap is closed. And now all I have to do is flip this up. Now, when you attach this magnet that we removed the release paper from, you want to make sure that you're not folding this flat. You don't want this flush, because if you have it flush, your magnet's going to be off. You're going to make sure you have that gusset, and then you're just going to press it like so. What I mean by making sure you have that gusset, you see when I press it, you still have this gusset. Okay? You don't want to put the magnet flat and press, because otherwise you're not going to have you're not going to give yourself room for your folio. You need that extra room here for your folio. But that's all there is to that. Now watch, when I remove this, we have a magnet here and a magnet here. Pretty easy. It doesn't take any time at all. So that's all we're going to do with step number 6. Step number 7 is pretty simple. Self-explanatory. It says take the 8 pieces of paper with the score line bumpy side down. You'll put the bumpy side down on your surface, and then you're going to add tape. Now I removed a release paper off of one. What I'm going to do is open up my magnet section. Now I folded it. Okay, remove the release paper, and here we have our flap. I'm going to go up to the very first score mark. I will add this. We'll center it, add this just below that score mark, give it a good press. This one you want to make sure is straight, because if you get it crooked, your waterfall's crooked. So first one's kind of a little bit important, but there we have that little flap. And that's all there is to that, okay? And then all you do is repeat that same step, but instead of going to the score mark, you're going to go up to the cardstock mark. Okay, you fold it in, again, fold it in. There's your adhesive. And then you're just going to layer this right at the paper line. Reinforce it, flip it up, and continue. I'm finishing up my last one. We just line it up, and that's all there is to that. So we have all 8 attached, and all you do is fold them down. And then we've created a really fun waterfall. And then to close it, all you do is fold it closed, snap it. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So you definitely need that gusset because of all the dimension that's in here. Okay, and it does look a little poofy, but by the time you add all the papers and embellishments, it flattens on its own. So that's step number 7. Step number 8, we're going to create our belly band, which is this piece here. Okay, it's very easy to create. We're going to add it to this panel here. Okay, this is part of our trifold closure. It's the very first part of our trifold. The easiest way I found to do this is take your panel, put it behind this one, kind of lay it flat. This is a little bit larger than this page, okay? So you want to make sure it's centered. And then I remove the release paper off of the top here from our double-sided tape. And again, you want to make sure it's centered. Okay, and then I'm going to close this like so. And then I'll do the same thing on the bottom. And what this did is created a band that you could put your hand through. Okay? And it does have a little bit of bow to it. And you need that because that's where this piece here will fit, which is step number 9. This is actually a card that you fold in half at the score mark. And then this one will actually slide right in here. Okay? So this is removable. You just slide it in that belly band. So you could open this up, fold this in, and then believe it or not, our folio's done. That's all there is to it. Almost, but we got some decorating to do. We're going to start decorating the inside now, which is super fun and very easy because you can use lots of scraps that you have left over. I'm going to open up my book, and we have the corner pocket. We're going to start with that. What I had did was taken a square of this pattern paper, okay, and I just trimmed it at a diagonal, almost the same way as we did when we created the pocket, although this is just slightly smaller, so it does leave me a little bit of a border. I'm actually going to create an extra pocket with this. So to do that, the longer edge here, I'm not going to add glue to, but I'm going to add glue here and here, but on the inside, of course. And a little glue here, and then we're just going to tack it down to our corner pocket. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other corner. So I'm going to open this up, and we're going to work on this corner too. We'll do 2 corner pockets at once. So those are done, okay? Now I have some more pattern paper. I did the same thing too. It was just a square that I trimmed down at a diagonal, and we're going to make another pocket doing the same exact thing. Okay, so we have, let me show you. So we have a pocket here, and then we have an extra pocket here, and we have another pocket here. It's kind of a 3-pocket corner. It makes it really fun. Now I'm going to bring in some hole punches. I have 2 pieces of pattern paper. Okay, I'm going to take a 2 1/4 inch punch. I'm going to punch out a circle here. Okay, and then I'm going to take a smaller punch. You could use circle dies if you have them. This is a 1 3/4 inch punch. I'm going to cut out a circle here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and glue them together, like so. And then just using my scissors, I'm going to trim where I think is the center, and then I have 2 pieces. I always like to do things like this just for little decorative purposes. So I'm going to use my glue, and right here we're going to add some extra color, and we'll do the same thing over here. So those are our corner pockets. I'm going to close this in, and we're going to focus more on what goes in our corner pocket. We're going to stuff it with a quick homemade card. This is an A2 card that's side folding. I'm going to take some of our pattern paper that's slightly smaller than our card base, and I'm just going to simply add this to the front. They were a little bit longer than I wanted, so I'm just going to trim them off just to add a little color there. And then in our sticker sheet, there is a sticker that says thinking of you. We're going to take this. I'm going to actually add it to some white cardstock, and then we're going to tack this down here, and that is one quick and easy card. We're going to add this. Now I want to add a journaling tag to that pocket, so I have some more pattern paper, and I have just some white cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue behind here. We're going to decorate the top with some pattern paper just to make it a little fancy, and then we have a little overhanging I'll trim off, and then this is where my crocodile and my ribbon come in, and then we're going to thread this with some red and white gingham ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a knot with it. Kind of angle off the ribbon here. We'll just tuck this in here with our greeting card. This will be a nice little note card set too. And then for finishing touches for this, we are going to bring in the paper trimmer. I'm actually going to cut away some of our cut aparts, and then all we're going to do is take our cut aparts and we're going to tuck them in this pocket here. And that's all there is to that pocket. Now we're going to move along to this side. This is the one we're going to do next. I have some pattern paper that we're going to adhere to our background. With this being the opening of my pocket, we're going to tack it to the middle. So this will be the opening here. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with this piece, create a pocket with it. So I'm going to add glue to here, the bottom, and then this side. And we're going to add this to the very bottom of this one. Okay, I'm going to bring back my 2 1/4 inch punch, and we're going to create half of a circle here. We'll just punch this out. I'll add a little glue. And then we're going to add this to that yellow. Now I have a piece of cardstock that's a little bit bigger than the sticker. Okay, I'm going to slide it in the center of my pocket here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my sticker and I'm going to layer it in the center of my half circle, and I'm going to tack it down. So I'm actually tacking down my sticker to that white cardstock. It's just going to create a flap, and it's going to prevent it from sticking to this pocket here. So we're just preventing it from sticking, and adding a piece of white cardstock is pretty easy, and it makes it stand out. Easy peasy, huh? Now I have 2 pieces of pattern paper here. What we're going to do is take this, and just using my scissors, we're going to cut from corner to corner to create some corner brackets. Speaking of fun things, as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at my sticker sheets, and we have a scallop border, and I think I'm going to add a scallop border to this. I'm going to take my scallop border and just go ahead and add it to this. We're going to add a little extra color here, but made a big difference for that. Okay, all we have left to do for this one is just add a couple guest checks. This was the reverse side of the corner brackets that we used, the pattern paper. These are really nice to add little notes to, and you can put them in any pocket you want. We're going to put them in here, and that's all there is to that panel. So 1, 2, we're going to open it up to 3, the one that has our pockets. We're going to add this piece as our background, so we're going to do a little tucking with it. We will do a little tucking with this, that second pocket. We'll do a little tucking with this. We have our bottom pocket, which we're going to use some more green paper. Just going to add some glue and tack this down. Okay, and then I have some yellow. I thought the yellow was light enough to do a little bit of journaling on, so we're going to add some glue behind here, and this is going to be tacked right up here at the front. So if I wanted to journal, I have a little extra room there. And then I have some blue paper. We're going to create a little border here, and I'm just going to add some glue behind here, and we're going to add some pattern paper border up here at the top. It's a little bit larger than my panel, so I'm going to trim off what's overhanging. And then I have some orange pattern paper. I'm going to bring in a 1-inch punch. You don't have to have circles. You could actually do this with squares if you just want to use a paper trimmer. But I have 2 1-inch circles now. What we're going to do is add some glue behind one, and then I'm going to tack it, some glue behind my second 1-inch circle, and we're just going to sandwich them together like so. And so we have circle on the front, circle on the back. Now I'm going to bring in my hole punch. We're going to punch a hole right in the center, and then I'm going to add a red eyelet, And I'm just going to tie a knot here. I will kind of angle off my ribbon. And it makes a nice little pull tab too. And that's all there is to that. This is going to go in our longest pocket. And then we're going to create another journaling tag here. So I have some yellow pattern paper. This is going to go on top of an A2 panel. So we'll add this at the very top. And then we're going to layer some orange. And then we can just butt that right up against the green. And then I have some blue that we're going to put right up against the orange. Do a little bit of layering, I think is nice. I'm going to trim this to 3 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this into a bookmark, and then we have a nice little tag. But I do want to add a sticker to this tag. So let's take our sticker sheet. And I like this little floral arrow. We're just going to add this arrow here. I just threaded some ribbon through here. And then I'm going to angle off my ribbon here. And then we have a cute little bookmark, but we're going to put this on another pocket. So I'm going to put this to the side. I want to do one more thing since we had our sticker sheet out. In our sticker sheet here, we have Feel the Vibe. We're going to take this and I'm going to add it here, but I don't want the upper portion of the sticker sticking. So what I'm going to do is flip it over. Not the bottom of the sticker, just the top of it. So now it's not sticky. And that is all there is to that pocket. Slides in and out really easy. Plenty of room for journaling and lots of room to stick some photos in there. I just think that's wonderful. What we're going to do is cover that magnet with some pattern paper. So I'm going to take this and cover it here. Now I adhered this, okay, and I cut out a spot where the magnet is, because I'm actually going to add another piece of cardstock over it, and I don't want 2 pieces of cardstock because I want the magnetic closure to be strong. What we're going to do next is take this pattern paper and I'm going to trim it. I'm going to follow along one of my diagonal edges and just trim a little bit off. And we're going to create a pocket with this. Okay, and then we have this piece here. We're going to add some pattern paper over this closure. So now I have 2 banners. I'm actually going to glue them together just at the top, kind of like I'm free flowing. And then these little banners are going to go up here. How about Remember This? And we're just going to layer this at the bottom. Creates a fun little tag. And that's a fun little tag to stick inside of our pocket here. And then we are going to crisscross them. Press those down. I did put some powder behind here so it wouldn't stick. So our guest check, it wouldn't stick to our guest check. And that's all there is to that. I do want to decorate our little tab here. And that's that page. But there's more to this page because when we open it up, we have our waterfall. That's all there is to that. Now we get to do our waterfall. For my waterfall, I cut out 2 each of our pattern papers. So what we're going to do is go in a order. So each of our pages have stickers, and that's all there is to the inside. Before we call this done, I am going through my sticker sheet and we're going to pick out 2 of our butterflies. And I think I want to add the green one to the pink guest check, and we will add the pink one up here. For this next page, I have some pattern paper. This is the one that has all the guest checks on it, and I did trim it out to where it has our index piece. But no worries, because we're going to cover that up with some more pattern paper. And then I have some yellow pattern paper. We're going to add this to the center. This will break up all those guest checks. And then we're going to bring back our sticker sheet, and this is one of those pages that we can just journal on and add some extra stickers. Now moving along to this page has the belly band that goes straight through and that our card can be removable. Let's work on our card first. Okay, I have some orange pattern paper. We're going to adhere this. Let's bring in our sticker sheet. Let's add some pencils. We're going to take Overthinker and put this right on the inside. And that's all there is to that one. Now we're going to work on this piece that we slide our card into. And then I have these two pattern papers. What I'm going to do is fold it in half, pinch it just on one side, and then using my scissors, we're going to create a banner by just trimming it off. So it's a slight banner. We're going to add this here just by adding a little glue at the top. I didn't go all the way to the top with it, I just layered it a little bit. And then I'll do the same thing with this pattern paper. I'll pinch it on one side and then just trim it. And this time we have a banner that's opposite that we're going to put at the very top. Tack this down, and then all we have left to do with this one, and I didn't glue the bottom, so you can kind of lift them up if you wanted to. Okay, and then for this one, we're going to add, how about our little envelope? We'll add this down at the bottom corner, and that's all there is to that. So we're going to take our card and just slide it in. And again, this could be journaling, it could be receipts, souvenirs, it could be pictures. So sky's the limit when it comes to it. But we do have I do that all the time. Sometimes things are just so simple, but I overthink them. But there we go. So now we're going to flip it open and work on our next one. Now we're jumping into our trifold area. This is how it goes. Okay, so we're going to open it all the way up and we're going to work on this. This is where we attach that one belly band. We're going to take some green pattern paper and I'm going to line it up here in the center. And then I have some orange pattern paper we're going to glue at the bottom. And then I have some stripe paper I'm going to add right at the seam. Now I'm going to take this yellow pattern paper. We're going to turn this into a pocket. So I'm only going to go on 3 sides with the pocket opening on this end. We're going to attach this here. Then we're going to bring in some stickers. For this I thought we would use this pretty little banner. I just think that's so pretty. I am going to add some powder to this side here. We're going to remove the tackiness of the sticker here because this is going to overhang and I want to be able to open up my envelope. So we'll add this and then we can add a sticker that says maybe here for it. Then I want to add a little tack. And then I'm also going to take the little tack and add it here, but we have tackiness here. So I'm going to remove the stickiness so it doesn't stick behind it. But I want it to be able to stick out so people know that they could pull it out. And that's all there is to that panel. Now we're going to work on this middle section. The middle section is going to be real easy. For the middle section, we have blue pattern paper. We're going to layer it right in the middle, like so. And then we're going to create a band using 2 pieces of cardstock. So I have some of the orange and then I also have the floral. I'm going to layer both of these together and then I'll add glue at the very top and the very bottom. And then I will tack it down about right here so you'll be able to put your hand underneath here. The nice thing about creating these bands is you could stick things in them and they stay pretty good, which makes it really nice. Now I have another piece of white cardstock and we're going to bring in our sticker sheet for this. And then we have some arrows that we're just going to add to one side. And I think we need another sticker here, so we're going to use the hello. But for the hello, I want it to overhang a little bit. Cover the sticker with my hand and add some powder here. This part's going to overhang on our paper, so I want the stickiness still. But we're going to layer this here. And since we added that powder, it's not sticking. You could see there, but you could still slide things in and out, which makes it nice. We're almost done with this page. I am going to bring in a cut apart. This one says This Happy Life, and we're going to add one of our cut-aparts here too. And that's all there is to that panel. Now we're going to move along to this piece. This piece here, we need to stuff it with some stuff. So I have a piece of white cardstock. We're going to decorate the top with some pattern paper. So I will add this. And then I have a strip of the yellow that we're going to layer here. I'm just going to crisscross them. And we'll put them up here in the corner. And that's all we're doing to that sheet. We can tuck this in here. Okay, and then we want to fill these little pockets with some items. So I have a cut apart here, and I also have this cut apart. Just have them sticking out. And then I also trimmed out some guest checks. And we can tuck these in there too. I'm going to tuck them under the pink pocket here, so they'll stay. And that's all there is to that. Little tucking with some journaling cards and some guest check tickets, and that's good to go. Okay, we're going to flip this over and work on our final page. For my final page, we're going to add some pattern paper here. This is the index piece, but that's okay because we're going to cover it. And we're going to cover it with our green. We're going to add this here. I have some stripe paper that we're going to add right here. And then I have some of this pattern paper that we are going to layer here. Now these two pieces, I'm only going to add glue to the left and right, okay, so I could slide things in and out. I'm going to trim away what's the best that could happen. You can also trim away the thank you. I'm going to take what's the best that could happen and layer it right over the top here. We'll add a pencil to that. They kind of go together. I'm not going to add anything over the top here, but we can just slide this in. And then we can also add our thank you if we want to add a little bit more. And then I cut out a guest check that we can add also. Just layer it up. And that is all there is to that. It holds it pretty well, which makes it really nice. I think the more you stuff it, the more it stays, and there's plenty of room. You could see how it kind of narrows down. There's still plenty of room to add more things, but it was super fun to create. It's a very long video. Apologize for that, but I think it's well worth it because we created a folio. I mean, I think it took longer to decorate than it did to make it, which was always nice. We have quite a few stickers left over. If you wanted to go through your folio and fill in your folio with some empty spots, there's options to do that. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.